So Mike, I thought we kind of change it up again on another video. I know we did last time, but I like this position where I get to ask you the questions all the time. Anyway, so last video was on the topic of, seller financing, or at least the combination of with my loan allowing up to a 90% CLTV. So I think people are kind of understanding what my loan usually takes to get done. But I think more than anything else, people want to know how they can get the seller to accept seller financing, or at least a combination of. So maybe give us, I'm sure there's plenty of reasons, maybe give us the top five as to what you would normally use, or, kind of reason with the seller to get seller financing.
Yeah, so I think seller financing is an extremely powerful tool. It's not right for every seller. So I think the first thing we just should have an honest discussion about is you need to know the seller's equity position. If they bought the loan in the last couple of years, maybe you're going to do a sub two, which again is Pace Morby, not my thing. Never done one, so go watch him.
Go to his channel. Yeah.
But if you have found a seller who's got a lot of equity, it's at least worth a conversation. So with that caveat, we're going to assume the client is a true prospect for it. The first thing I would do is I would try to understand and position to them the tax savings. So again, I did a video with an accountant. Shout out Bob from Maine Bean Counters. Maine is in the state, bean counters. We talked about the tax savings. So what happens, generally speaking, when you sell a property is, as the owner, you're going to have some tax implications. Not to go into too much detail, but you're going to likely have capital gains and something called depreciation recapture. That is a steep price to pay for selling an asset. If they do seller financing, that becomes what they call an installment loan. And how an installment loan is, your tax implications are done based on when you receive the income or the cash. So you can delay it. And again, given our graduated tax system, instead of having all the taxes in year one, which puts you in a high bracket, you can delay taxes for the next 10, 20, 30, heck, 50 years, if that's what you guys negotiate. So understanding the tax implications is something that takes practice. I would watch that video I did with Bob Langworthy from Maine Bean Counters. It's in the course and all of that stuff. But so that's the first one, is understanding why a seller might want to delay taxes. Does that make sense?
Totally. I mean, again, top five, that's one of the many that are on my list, but that would probably be the number one, because that's usually universal with every investor to some degree. Then of course, what are they going to do with the money, or did they need all the money from the sale? But again, I would totally agree with that number one. So
number two, a lot of sellers that I've done seller financing with, they are used to having monthly income, right? When you're a landlord and you've been a landlord for 20, 30 years, you don't get a year's income on January 1st, right? You get the first, then February, then March. So you probably have adapted a lifestyle where having monthly income pays your bills. So every time I've done seller financing, I have had that discussion. I'm like, hey, you want to maintain income, maybe you want a little cash to go splurge on a trip, but you want to maintain income going forward so you can keep enjoying your life, right? So again, one of the things you're doing with an installment loan is you're agreeing to a certain payment every month. And again, you could do it once a quarter, you could do it once a year, you could do it every 2 weeks, whatever. The beauty of seller financing are there are no rules. It's whatever you as the buyer and the seller can agree to makes sense. So again, maintaining some type of income has been very beneficial as number two.
I think that'd be universal again as well, because I mean, who would want continued income even after their responsibilities are done, essentially? So I would agree with that as well. So what's the next one?
So number three for me, and again, I only can share the experience I have, and every seller that I have bought from was 65 years or older, and more than half were over 70 when we did the transaction. So again, when you talk to them and you go to lunch and you break bread, you really get to know who they are. And the reality is they're tired. They realize that, the hourglass is closer to being empty than full. And they want to take the last couple of good years to go do the things they didn't do before. Go take that European vacation. Go spend more time with their grandchildren, whatever their thing is. So that's a simple way of saying is, They're done. They don't want any more headaches. They don't want any more toilets breaking, pipes busting,
Right.
evictions,
In the middle
right?
of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, I'm done.
Right.
So they would like to pass that headache on to someone else.
Mhm.
And that's that. I'm still looking to do more, so we're still growing. But I get it,
Right.
right? Will I be a seller financing when I'm 65 or 70?
Maybe.
Probably. No,
Right.
probably.
No,
Probably.
probably. You don't think one
Yeah.
of the grandkids are going to take over
No, not
grandpa's
gonna happen.
mantle? You don't know? You don't
No,
want that?
no, no. We'll
No?
we'll keep some, but yeah, it's yeah, yeah. So I reduce
Okay.
headaches at number
You're going to
three.
buy another casino in Vegas or something? Is that what's getting the money
No, no,
for? When
no.
no, no.
I don't need a job. I'm good. So number four, Steve, actually might surprise people.
What's that?
Uh, I've asked every seller that has agreed to do this with me,
Hmm.
and they've all admitted one way or another that a big pile of cash would be a problem. Right? One of the deals we did was multiple seven figures. Other was just shy of seven figures. Another one's, a couple of them were up $500,000. And they're
Right.
like, that's a problem. Not only it's real, man. They don't want the problem. They don't
I
want
might be
family
in that
members.
group. I would have to imagine because yeah, I have a hard time with large sums of money, so I try to keep it out of my hands as much as possible. My financial advisor gladly likes to hear that kind of stuff. So yeah, it automatically is deducted from my account as far as
Yeah, keep
I have to
investing.
go through several channels to get to it. So it's like okay, by the time I get to the third, no, I changed my mind. So then it'll stop. But yeah, that
Yeah.
impulse buying in the past.
Yeah, again, folks, when you're 65 or 70, you've got kids, you've got grandkids, having cash becomes a problem, right? People come ask for it, handouts. They don't know what to do with it. They don't want it. Again, they've worked. The whole goal for the next 20 years or however long they're going to live is easy. So sometimes seller financing is the easy option.
Well, I think again, it's just in addition to not only self financing, but the fact that with our combination of our loan as well, with a good chunk of money down now, I think they get the best of both worlds,
Oh
especially
yeah.
the ones that, have had trouble selling. Now it's like, okay, you don't have to carry the full amount. You get a good chunk now, meet us
Yeah.
halfway. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen, I'm telling you, it's slowly starting to catch up. The more you and I keep spreading this out there, I think sellers are really open to it. Because again, they haven't really started with that because who wants to, not get all the money right away? That's the
Yeah.
usual
Yeah.
intention. But if they go, you know what, I don't need all, but I need to sell. The market's
Yeah.
probably not getting better in some areas, so we just don't know. But yeah, I think
Well,
it gives a lot of people options, especially in the
I'm
small
so
areas. It just kind of dawned on me as far as like less
yeah.
populated, because again, that scenario worked perfectly because now the seller understands like, hey, there's not going to be other sellers that are either all cash, but I've got something now in combination. If I'm willing to carry this, then we can make it happen. So you just gave me a great idea.
Yeah, I think that is number five for me. It's price and terms. Again, a lot of
Mhm.
all the assets that I bought were in okay condition. They hadn't really been updated, all of that. They probably wouldn't pass muster with a traditional lender, right? They would have a big long repair request, like, hey, you got to do these in escrow kind of thing. So sometimes the answer is, hey, I can pay your price if you give me my terms.
Yep.
And whether that is them taking 100%, which again are the deals I've done. Again,
Mhm.
I don't know, annoyed might be the wrong word, but I could have done more seller finance deals if I had the 90% CLTV, 50, 40, 10, 60, 30, 10, whatever the math works out. Because
Right,
again,
especially back
I,
then when where rates were. Oh my
yeah,
goodness, would
oh,
have been cash flowing like crazy, bro. With 10% down on like 10 different deals, all cash
it'd have been
flowing
nuts.
at 90% leverage, Mike.
It'd have been nuts. So again, the whole point of seller finances is you have to on the talk track, you have to understand the variables. Don't rush it. Don't assume everybody. Again, the big thing as I opened, you
Hmm.
can't assume every seller can say yes to seller financing.
Right,
If they bought a
right.
year ago and they got 3% equity, you're going sub two, you're going pace Morby, not my thing.
Yep,
Don't know.
yep,
But
yep.
again, they have a bunch of equity. If they have all equity, clearly I've done millions of that. If they have some
Hmm.
equity, enough, they could do a 50, 40, 10. It's really cool. So thank you for asking this. If somebody wanted to know more besides watching the deep dive playlist
Hmm.
on our video, where would they reach out to you?
Email is typically the best way, just to SDAO at velocity, the word mortgage spelled out.com. Subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT to make it past the firewall. Body of the email, a brief description, what you're looking for. Property address would be great. City and state, at least, to make sure I lend there. Your mid FICO score and the best phone number to reach you at. And typically 24, 48 hours, I'll be in touch.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks so much.